this episode of Kyber Clips. I'm Mike Jafrida, President of Kyber Security, joined once again Bob Thomas, our VCIO, VCISO for Kyber and our clients. Welcome, Bob.
Thanks, Mike. Let's have fun.
Let's have some fun. Bob wanted to do this episode as a beach-style episode where we wore our
Flip-flops,
and
shorts,
bathing
Hawaiian
suits.
shirts,
But
all caps on backwards.
maybe we'll do that next time as we come back around.
I guess that didn't get approved.
It got edited. It hit the editing room floor like it was hot.
Snip, snip, snip.
Regardless, today we're going to talk about security programs. There's a lot of talk in the industry in different compliances, in the FTC safeguards rule. Got to have a security program. Got to have a security program. Let's and people ask us all the time, what is this all about? What does this mean? So let's talk a little bit about that. What is a security program?
Okay, so a security program, first of all, it should be written. It should describe, number one, all of the systems that you have to protect. Because if you don't know what you have to protect, how are you going to protect it? How are you going to know when it's not available and what to do when it's not available? So that's the baseline requirement. Let me understand what it is that I have. After that, okay, how are you going to protect it? What tools are you going to put in place? What systems, what policies, what are, it can get all the way down to if there's an outage, what's the most important thing? Doesn't have to detail how you're going to get the system back up and running, but hey, this isn't really the most critical system we have. This is how I'm protecting it. This is number one priority in order to get it back up and running. Here are the tools I use in order to protect that data, to back it up, to protect my computers from being hacked, from viruses infecting them, it could even get down to monitoring machines and patching machines to make sure that they stay up to date. It's all of the pieces that make up the program and the plan of how you protect your systems. That's really what it comes down to.
And I think it's important to touch upon that priority thing a little bit deeper because priority has to be set in accordance with business value, right? So when you're trying to say what's the most important system, I mean, there may be baseline systems that need to be up for anything else to run. Active Directory server,
100%.
as an example.
Yep.
However,
Best example.
based upon your organization, what the next system is may vary greatly. May not be email, might be the ERP system. However, if the ERP system doesn't work without the email, you've got to figure out, okay, we need what's the right process and order to get us back to full operational behavior.
Yeah, this is the whole, without getting into the real weeds here, but business impact assessment is really what you need to do in order to build a written information security plan so you know what's most important. And most important, I think the best thing that you said, Mike, was what's most important to the business. Not what's most important to the departmental manager of this silo because they think their stuff's most important.
Hold on, you're telling me that accounting's always going to say that QuickBooks has to be the first thing
Absolutely,
back up?
accounting's most important because I need to get my bills out, I need to get money collected, I need to pay bills. That's how someone in the accounting department is always going to feel. But if you're not making whatever widget or performing whatever service you do, well, how are you going to bill individuals in the first place? You can't because you're not performing a service or delivering something. So I think that that overarching, hey, what's the most important thing for the business to run? And then take it back to technology and say, okay, we said the ERP system is the most important thing. Here are the pieces, prerequisites, if you want to go that direction, that need to be in place in order to make that run and run successfully and give people access. Okay, let's say those have to be. What's next after that? And you need to create it's a list of criticality. What's the most critical thing in the business and how am I going to get it up? How long can I live without it? That's probably the biggest question. We interview people all the time. How long can you live without it? We can live without it a week. Bullshit. I'm saying no. There's no way that you're going to be able to live without your core system for a week. Show me how you're going to build clients. People will be calling you every single day saying, when am I going to get my stuff? And you can't tell them when because you don't have access to the system that's telling you when you're going to produce it. I think that's a problem. And so that's why you determine what's critical so you can respond to clients and give them information and get product out the door.
So we've talked about a lot of technology-based things around, securing the server, securing your systems, etc. Is that all that's in here? Is this talk also about policies for securing things? Does it talk about physical security? What other things are being included in the security?
Honestly, I think it touches all of that. I mean, at the very core, you have to have policies and procedures in order to dictate how your staff is operating, how the technical aspects of the systems are being configured in order to protect your data and protect your users from doing something. You don't give everybody admin rights. That's not how it works, or it better not be how it works. You want, what's called least privilege. Okay, that's how you should configure the system, and it should be documented that way. Every piece of how the system is constructed should be documented, whether that's in a quote unquote formal policy or it's procedural in nature, to say we're going to do it this way. When we hire somebody, we're going to interview them once, twice, 3 times. We're going to do a background check on them. We're going to see what the results are. Then we're going to onboard them. Here's our checklist of how we bring them on. We only give them access to these things if they're in this department, in this role. It should dictate exactly how things are done so it's repeatable. Should be a standard.
So this sounds like a 700-page binder that's going to never be used in the corner. Is that what we're talking about?
Gee, I hope it's not that size.
How do I create one of these things? This sounds like a mountain to climb.
Well, so you're never going to create one of these all at once. I think one of the really good things is to start with policies and start to look at your business and say, very simple, do I have a password policy? Everybody ought to have a password policy, not just what the size of the password is, how long it is, how complex it is, but how does one construct a good password? Everybody needs that. Okay, an acceptable use policy ought to be part of your employee handbook. How are people supposed to use the equipment you're giving them? And you just methodically, I hate to say plow through this, and you probably need help along the way. What does a data retention policy look like? What does that mean? Data retention. Well, how long are you required to keep your data? How are you destroying it when it's no longer needed? Is there a method? Is there a process for doing it? All of these things end up being part of that security program and plan that you have in place. If you don't have these bits and pieces, you will never do it the same way twice. I had a conversation with a client and I said, okay, well, you say you're absolutely destroying your computers and the magnetic storage in them the same way every time. Okay, where's the document that shows it was done? Yeah, we don't get a document. Well, who are you using? Well, we're using some company in New Jersey. Well, are they certified? Yeah, I don't really know if they're certified. Okay, well, you need to use somebody certified. They should give you a document that they destroyed it. Here's the serial numbers. Oh, we don't get serial numbers. How do you know what was destroyed? You have to do things in a repeatable fashion. If it's not in a document someplace, it just won't be followed. Or different people will do it different ways.
Yeah. I hired an MSSP. I hired an MSP. I got an IT company.
Okay, good start.
Aren't they handling this stuff for me? Do I really need all of this? Those guys are going to take care of it.
It's your data at the end of the day. It's your business at the end of the day. The responsibility lies with the business owner. Yes, you can outsource and you can enlist help from people, but at the end of the day, it's not their responsibility because it's not their data. Yes, they will perform tasks, they will perform monitoring, they will perform backups, they will monitor the backups. Are they keeping the building cool so that the server doesn't overheat? Is that their job, to make sure that the temperature is set right? Somebody could walk over and go like this and say, oh, it's too cold in here. And all of a sudden the server overheats because there's no cold air getting to it. Fails. Responsibility.
Sounds like a lot in here.
Shared responsibility. There's the word I was looking for.
You're coming up with that.
Shared responsibility. Yes.
You're always trying to figure out how to work that into the conversation.
Yes. That's what it is.
What's the first step?
Look, I think you have to determine, do you have anything documented? And you've got to start with policies, and you've got to look at your business almost from outside in and say, what's most important? Let me list my systems. What systems do I have? What runs where? and how do I protect it? Because if you don't know those things, you'll never know how to keep it running or get it running when it's down.
Start with wedge number 1, identify.
It is
Gotcha.
identified.
All right.
What do I have to protect?
That's right. So sounds like it's important work. It is a bit of a lift. If you don't have one and you need one for one of these compliances, you probably ought to get started on it soon.
Yeah.
Enlist the help of your IT provider. Enlist the help of the folks around you who know how to do this stuff. And make sure that you're getting all your ducks in a row for this.
That's
Just
what it
prepared if something does happen.
Well said. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for the information, Bob, and thanks for joining us on this episode of Kyber Clips.
Thanks.
Hey folks, thanks for joining us for another episode of Kyber Clips. Hope you enjoyed the information that you got today. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the like button, or comment below. You can always reach out to us at sales@kybersecure.com. Have a great day.